Good news, the buttons worked. We are live with the Arcadia Roundtable. If you're just joining us, you might notice something a little bit different on your screen, something delightful. Chris can't make it again this week. That's not the delightful part. He's very, very busy, but he wanted to be here and he can't be. Fortunately for us, we're graced with the presence of our favourite lawyer. We don't have many favourite lawyers. Luke Steele is our favourite lawyer. Luke, thank you for joining us. Please tell everyone how you're doing.
Yeah, I'm doing very well, thank you. Thank you for having me. Yeah, I've been gaming quite a lot actually recently, getting a lot of good games in, which has been nice. And yeah, there's loads to talk about, right? So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
There is loads to talk about, and good games are the kind that we like. We will we'll let you tell the people a bit more about yourself in just a second, but before we do that. Yeah. We've got Darge shifting and shuffling in the corner. He's been on the ruse all day. Don't tell him he looks tired, because he knows. Darge.
I know, yeah. Yeah, mate. I was just thinking, just sitting here listening to you both, I thought, what a lovely pair of voices. And then I've got to come in with my voice, unfortunately. But it spices it up, right? Yeah, I'm all right. I'm just fucking tired. I'm really tired. But I'll push through for the show. Yeah, just I've been beating games, or I don't know. Actually.
Oh, a little brag there, not just playing them. Got a one-up game.
Yeah, we'll get more into it. But yeah, no, I'm sweet. Yeah, looking forward to the topics we've got to talk about.
You also, full well that if we did a little poll right now on whose everyone's favourite voice was, you'd top that poll easily. So I'm not trying to inflate your ego too much, but you know it. You always talk about not liking your voice, not liking you being tired. Everyone would vote for your voice. Everyone wants your voice rather than our boring. Sorry, Luke, your voice isn't boring, but you know what I mean. You know what I mean.
And by comparison.
I don't think my voice would work in Luke's field of work. You know what I mean? It's quite.
You said the lawyer's kind of personality and character.
I'm just saying, if a lawyer sounded like me, I wouldn't trust my life in his hands. I'd be fucking shitting myself. But
I don't know. I think I'd trust a lawyer more if he had your accent, really.
Full on ego massaging here tonight. I'm enjoying myself, but let's just do a bit of flirting later on.
Right. So yeah, I keep referring to Luke as a lawyer. It's not his main personality trait or anything like that, but it is how I came across him when we were doing the Game on Daily show time ago, and everybody was interested in mergers and acquisitions for whatever reason. That's where we encountered Luke. But actually, his gaming knowledge and know-how and interest is what has got him onto this show and made him interesting. So Luke, tell people a little bit about yourself, what you game on, what kind of thing you like.
Yeah, I game on everything really. I pretty much always have done. I probably consider myself like a PC gamer first and foremost. That's what that's what I play on the most. But I have a Series X, I have a PlayStation 5 and a Switch and a Steam Deck as well. And I get pretty good usage out of all of them. So I'm really very eclectic in terms of what I like. I like pretty much everything. There's very few genres that I won't play. Basically boils down to MOBAs and fighting games, I would say. I just like gaming, man. I just, it's just my main hobby. Always has been, always will be, and it's a nice de-stress from the job, right? Which is why we do this stuff, I think. And it's nice to escape to a different world. I don't play Ace Attorney, interestingly. Never played that. Mm-hmm. Like, not interested in replicating any element of my job in a game. Like, that's just not me. But other than that, I'll play anything.
I've been whacking off for days. Is back in chat. Thank you, RQ. I love your naming games. It's good to see you there. So you like stealth games, Luke?
I do. Yeah, I'm a big fan.
I've made a terrible mistake. I know. You like VR games, Luke?
Yes, I do. Not as much as you, but I do like them.
Rescued. All right. I almost had to end the show early right then. Also, hello everyone that's come along and is watching us and talking to us and sitting in the background or watching after the fact. Thank you very much for the support. It is always appreciated. As you know, we've got our Discord server running. We talk about it all the time because we have a good time over there. So if you want to talk more, do hit the link that's in the description. Get over there and onto that. Before though, we get into our topics for the day, and there are a few. Everybody's hyped up. There's showcase and showcase season is upon us, and everyone's excited about what we're going to be seeing over the coming week, and little bits and pieces that we've already seen as well. So we will be talking about all of that. Before we do though, we always talk about actual games that we're actually playing, games we've had in our hands, and how we've been finding them. Darge, talk to me about games.
I always lose track, right? It's only been a week, but I finished God of War. I started streaming, just as another little thing, basically. Like, just start doing some YouTube streams. Had some people over there and that, and I thought, you know what? I'll get my God of War out of the way, which will bring us on to another topic conveniently in a little while. But anyway, I thought, no, I'll get it done. Yeah, story games ain't really for streaming, I don't think, because I was trying to engage with the chat whilst listening to the story. But it's a good game overall. I kind of put a tweet out today and sort of said the last sort of 2 hours or that just felt like it was a cinematic into a button press or into a quick melee combat section, then back into a cutscene. But overall, it's a good game, good story, and I enjoyed it. Done a little bit of Hades. Done a little bit more of that on the tube on the way home tonight. Getting the bug for that. I can't think if I've beat anything else. I don't think I've beat anything else this week. But yeah, that's about it, mate. Just God of War, and I'll have a think. I think it's just God of War, and but I haven't beat Hades. I haven't completed Hades once yet.
You're not. Oh, Darge. Never mind. We'll let that one slide.
I've had 20. I think I've had 20 attempts of escape, but obviously, because when I first played it originally, I didn't even go to the mirror in his bedroom, so I just kept running, beelining out of there. So I weren't even, and every time I was going, because I'd heard people going, yeah, each run you feel more powerful every time, and you sort of convince yourself, and you go, yeah, I fucking do feel powerful, but I won't actually invest in any of the darkness into my, into my traits and skills, But now I'm doing that now, and I'm sort of getting past Meg sort of fairly regularly now into the sort of more, I know it's all hell, right? But like the next stage is a little bit more lava pits and stuff like that. So I'm getting there, fighting like the Hydra, getting there, but yeah, not quite done, got escaped yet.
I'm going to crush your hopes and dreams. You're quite a long way from escaping. Not in terms of length and duration of gameplay, but there's 2 difficulty spikes ahead of you. That you'll feel.
Well, I won't bother playing that anymore then.
Yeah, you bloody well. That's essential playing. But
go on.
Tell me about God of War though, because you've got through that like really quickly. So it must have gripped you in some way, because you didn't play. You were always very Xbox in your past life, weren't you? So you probably haven't played the first 3 God of Wars, or you have?
Yeah, no, I haven't. No, I haven't touched any of them. So like I said on the stream, like I could appreciate that God of War 2018 was like one of the first, quote unquote bangers to come out of PlayStation. Obviously, they had other types of games, but with regards to that one, it was a single cut, no load screens, no nothing. It just kept going. It was cinematic. It was beautiful. And I enjoyed it. I think the problem that I found with it is obviously because I weren't enjoying doing it on a stream, and it was probably something I should have just done on my own. But when I was doing it on a stream, and then obviously, Sean Raff and Crypt, who may be in the chat or will be at some point, they've been plugging away at me to play Elden Ring, and I was kind of like, I'm ready now. I'm ready to do it, but I'm like 2/3 of the way through God of War, so I didn't do no side quest stuff or any of the what's his name, Brock, and you can do like little favors for him at his workshop. I just thought I'm going to mainline it and just crack it out, because I just want to get into Elden Ring now, But I did like as far as the game goes, obviously I've played the Last of Us remake, you know what I mean, Death Stranding, you know, some of those Horizon Zero Dawn, those PlayStation exclusives when they were fucking on their purple patch of just delivering beautiful games, you know, and that's what they were. But yeah, it's good, and I'm looking forward to Ragnarok as well.
Luke, tell me about your... I know Sony have come out and told you that you're not allowed to play the new God of War on PC because you live on a little island, and they've said
yes,
absolutely not. But what's your general feeling for the God of War series and the most recent entries for it?
I'm a big fan. I was a big fan of the original trilogy, and I was not so much the fourth game, which was Ascension, the prequel. That wasn't very good, but I was a bit apprehensive initially when they revealed, you know, the gameplay change, the change of perspective. But then 2018 God of War, I thought was an incredible game. Really, really enjoyed it, and I thought Ragnarok was like a smidge better. Like, that was just me. There's kind of varying like opinions on whether that's the case or not, and I think it depends on it. You can just put your finger up in the air, and like everybody's going to have a different view on that. But for me, it was a bit more. I don't know, like a bit more mechanically interesting, I thought, than the original. They kind of expanded that element a bit, you know, and obviously new places to go and visit and stuff like that. And the story resonated with me probably just as much, but I think everything else was like a slight bit higher. So I'm a big fan, and clearly it's been a big success for them. And I would expect another one within the next, you know, 5 or 6 years. I mean, it's just inevitable at this point. So, but yeah, big fan.
So I'm the other way around to you on the most recent two, so Ragnarok in 2018. I prefer 2018 over Ragnarok for various reasons that are difficult to go into without hitting spoiler territory, so I won't say too much about it. But generally, when I talk about the kind of range of melee games where you go from like Souls to Devil May Cry kind of scale of weighty and deliberate to hack and slashy, God of War sits in a really nice point in the middle where it flows quite nicely but still feels weighty. So it's one of my favorite kind of melee systems in a game, modern wise anyway. So I like it a lot for that, regardless of pacing and story issues in the last entry. But you've got those to look forward to, Darge, and you're going to look forward to Elden Ring, which is a good game to stream so long as you're content with people staring at your concentrating face for the duration of a boss. It can be slightly awkwardly long.
I've been practicing all week to not I'm like that. Like when I'm doing it, I'm like gaping mouth, and then the memes will be coming out. So I'm trying to keep my jaw up, you know. But Elden Ring. I don't know how that's gonna go, but looking forward to the challenge. And it's nice to hear Luke say about Ragnarok. 'Cause obviously in our Discord there was a couple who came out straight away and had a differing opinion on it. I mean, that's the beauty, you know, with gaming, you know, which is what we see on Twitter is a load of heated arguments because people's opinions don't align. And usually in life, that's kind of how it goes, right? You know what I mean? Like, some people like Marmite, some people don't, you know what I mean? And no one's wrong or right for that, you know? But, I'll be playing Ragnarok day one, no problem.
Patrick's telling you that that's an easy game for babies, so you're going to be fine. He also laughed at you for having not escaped Hades yet, so a lot to take on board there on whether or not Patrick actually likes you. But yeah, got a lot to say, which I appreciate. Thank you, Patrick. Luke, you've played... I know there's one particular game you've played that I want you to tell me about because I've never heard of it and you seem to really enjoy it. But before that one, was there anything else that you've played over the last... In fact, you weren't here last week, so you can pick any time frame you want. What you've been playing?
Yeah, I can give you the last 20 years if you like. If I don't remember it all. No, so I think recently I've been playing, apart from the game we'll talk about, a lot of Hades 2 in early access, which I know you won't be a big fan of. I will. But well, you will when it releases full 1.0. Yeah. But that's just a fantastic game. I think I've put like 22 hours into that, and I've still not finished a run, which I don't know is because of how much content or it's because I'm garbage. But in
For context, were you garbage at the first Halo? At the first Hades? How long did it take you to get out?
I was very good. I was very good. I'll tell you what it is. It's the boss. I won't say what the boss is, but the boss on the last boss on a run in this game, in Hades 2, I found much more difficult than the last boss on the first Hades on a normal run. And the kind of intermediate bosses are also somewhat more difficult as you progress. I won't say any more than that, but it's a amazing game already. There's tons of content there. My wife has actually finished everything you can do in it after 40 hours. So, if people are interested in diving in, it's well worth it, even if it's in early access, because it's terrific. So I've been playing that. What else have I been playing? There's the other game, and I've been playing No Rest for the Wicked as well in early access. I've nearly finished the last boss of that. Again, it's quite difficult, but that's enjoyable. And they've they've been doing well in terms of patches, improving performance, stuff like that, which has been nice. And then a few days ago or last week or so, I finished Hellblade 2, which obviously is still the talk of people. So yeah, and you'll see me at Halo sometimes as well, being great. So
yeah, a lot of the community don't like to see you at Halo. They do. They love to see you there, but you are using that mouse effectively.
Yeah, it's going quite well.
Tell me about Hellblade. People are still interested in Hellblade. Obviously, spoiler free, but how did you find it generally?
I really enjoyed it. I think I've said before to other people that I think the story didn't quite resonate with me as much as the first game did. I felt that coming away from the first game, I felt a bit more emotionally impacted by the story than this one, because the themes of this game are quite different to the first one. And that's not a bad thing. It's just that's what they were going for with this experience. It's a much less solitary experience than the first game, just by nature of the fact that it has more people. Senua knows more people. But in every other regard, I pretty much preferred this one to the first one. Obviously, it looks incredible. It's an incredible looking game. As a technical achievement, I think it's pretty astounding, actually. And it has great audio. That I can see how this game, and the first game was the same, was extremely Marmite, very divisive, because just the nature of the experience is going to be something you either like or don't like, I think. So I really enjoyed it, but I'd probably say it's slightly better than the first one. But if someone were to turn around and say, well, I thought it was much worse, then I could understand why, I think. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Your feedback on Hellblade is really, really, really similar to what I said in the review as well. So I'm not actually sure you played it at all. You've taken my review and regurgitated it slightly.
Yeah, just change the words. That's what lawyers do.
Yeah.
We just change it a bit.
Easy way to get by. Probably take longer than playing the game, to be fair. So no.
Yeah.
Let's do some of my games before we get onto your one that I'm really curious about, because I've been playing games as well, and I should talk about them. I was playing Final Fantasy VII a whole bunch today. The original from 1997. I've been playing the Xbox version of it that came out much later. And my original plan was to do it in step with the remake, so to do another remake playthrough and get through. But unfortunately, Darge deceived me horribly. Darge told me that the PC version of Final Fantasy VII Remake is just fine, and it really isn't. So after 3 hours of that, I've kind of decided I don't want to do remake on the PC. It just does not perform nicely at all in any of the kind of city areas. It's got a horrific frame rate in there. Whether it's like numerically horrific or it's just a frame pacing issue, I don't know, but it jerks all over the place. It's nasty. And I fired it up on the PlayStation just for comparison's sake. It's so much nicer on the PlayStation than it is on the PC, which you won't hear me say often about many games. And it's a shame that it's like that they've never gone back in and fixed the issues that it had when they released it, but it definitely has issues, and I'm not running it on a trivial PC or anything like that. But I did decide, actually, I'm enjoying Classic more than, like Remake I played too recently. I played it within the last 5 years. So actually, I'm just going to burn through Classic and get onto some other retro games, because turns out games used to be really good, and if you go back and play them now, they're still really good. So long as you can look past certain things, blow up onto a big screen nicer than others. But I'm doing alright with Final Fantasy VII, enjoying that quite a lot. I've also played plenty of modern games. I've been back on Diablo 4. And as always, when I play Diablo 4, I enjoy it for a few hours before I start to remember the things that I didn't enjoy so much about it. And it's like it's a well-polished, good game that you can see when you're playing it. You can experience it. There's a lot that they've done right, but everything about it feels so much less dynamic than the third one, than Diablo 3. It needs the roll. I'm desperate to be able to flick the right stick and roll around. It'll make the game a million times more fun for me, and it's such an easy fix. Come on, let me roll around. I don't care about your balance. You've screwed it all up anyway and made the game easy. Let me roll. But they don't. So them's the main ones that I've been playing. Darge, did you go into Diablo 4? But... You like Diablo a lot. Yeah. You tell me about Diablo 4. Am I right? Does it need a roll? Did you play 3 on console?
No, I played it on PC.
So you don't miss the roll.
Keyboard and mouse. So I don't miss the roll. But I can imagine that that one could miss the roll if they had the roll before. But Diablo 4 was weird because I was really looking forward to it, and then it came out and I put like 60 hours into it and I couldn't get enough, and then one day I just stopped and I didn't go back. And it's really strange because I love ARPGs and I love Diablo, and I put loads of hours into Diablo 3 and before that Diablo 2 way back when. I don't know why. I think it was just like the lack of incentive at the end game to because they were doing the seasonality stuff where obviously it resets every season, you get a new character effectively. I just don't like that. Like, it just feels like it's time wasted, really putting into your own character until the next expansion comes around, which is obviously I think this year, right? So, yeah, I to be honest, I will probably go back for the expansion, but then I'll probably drop it again. I won't continue, and it really annoyed me actually because not only did I drop it, I actually bought that stupid Ultimate Edition that got you the season pass. And
so you're going to say one of the horses. I was going to get mad at you. No, you didn't buy one of the £70 horses. So I dropped it. So I never got, obviously you can't go back in that game and just play through a battle pass that you've unlocked. So I just completely wasted money.
Yeah. I didn't, the £100 Ultimate that you just said about, that's I'd never played a Diablo game in my life, and as per usual came right up for the hype, and went balls deep on the Ultimate Edition, and I didn't even realise you got the season pass that you just said about with it. So I dropped it as well. So I didn't even finish the main game, I don't think. But I enjoyed what I did play of it though. Do you know what I mean? But not enough to keep me going, unfortunately. But I see you've been doing it though, Asa. I should go back to it really. I can't get sidetracked. I'm on Elden Ring. No, that's it.
I need to do Elden Ring as well. I'll be on there at the same time as you, I'm sure. But Diablo, I still haven't even finished the campaign, and I'm not going to get to the end of the campaign in this particular run of plays. I can tell that I'm going to fall off of it before I get to the end again. I'll get there eventually. I'll keep going back to it until I'm through. And then as soon as that character is done, whatever the end of the game is, not end game content, I will drop that character there and then and only play it hardcore, because I like losing hardcore characters. I like that moment where you chaos takes away whatever you've invested your time into and you're supposed to be devastated. I love the feeling of being just devastated. That's what I look for in my games. So I'll play some hardcore runs at the end of it. For now, though, Luke, I can't even remember what this game is called, and I want to bring up a trailer for it because I want you to tell me. I've seen you saying very briefly how much the story in particular of this game was above and beyond what you normally get in a typical AAA game. So tell us what this game is and why you love it.
Yeah, so I finished this yesterday, sometime, I can't remember when. And And just as background, I saw this announced like some time ago, and I just took one look at it, and I was like, that looks mildly interesting, but I probably won't pick that up. And then I saw it get like some very high praise from people, just in terms of reviews. It came, reviewed really well. And then the people who really loved it were giving it absolutely, glowing recommendations. And so I thought, well, I'll pick it up. It's only about £17 on Steam. And it's a game called 1000X Resist, which is a very strange name. And having played and finished the game, I don't quite know why it's called that. Nothing in the game suggests why it is. But it took me about 8 hours. I played it on Steam. It's only on Steam and Switch at the moment, but I played it on Steam Deck exclusively. And I just thought it was one of the most incredible gaming stories. In fact, probably not just gaming, actually. One of the most incredible stories in any medium that I've come across. And I was thinking of you, Asa, when I was playing it, because I was like, this is kind of the anti-Asa game, because in terms of gameplay, like if people think that Hellblade hang on, because if people think that Hellblade like doesn't have like much gameplay, this is like a couple of rungs below that. It's more like a visual novel, but with like a 3D camera perspective, effectively. There's very light puzzling. But
if you had come out and said it's the anti-Asa game because you're just like in stealth all of the time, like, it's a massive stealth game. You play like
it's full stealth. There's no stealth.
There's no stealth. It's not my anti-game. I'm going to play it to spite you.
Well, maybe it's a pro Asa game then. But it's like very rudimentary in terms of gameplay. Very light puzzling. There's some really light, strange platforming. It shifts genre and perspective at times. It kind of apes that a bit from Nier Automata, which did that. People have played that. But the thing that you're going for in this game, like if you want to buy it, then you're going in for the story, and the story is absolutely astonishing because it's very emotionally heavy, very complicated. It full of allegory and metaphor. It has like incredible voice acting across the board, beautiful music. And it just left a really lasting impression on me. It's like one of those stories that I'll think about probably for a long time, and I always find that's a really good hallmark of a game when it has that impact on you well after you've played it. You kind of just randomly bring it up in your mind. And I don't really want to. It's really difficult to talk about because I went in super blind, and I think it's even better if you do that. If you know nothing about it, then it's great. You can read the synopsis and it won't spoil much or anything like that. But you'll kind of have to trust me, I suppose. I don't mind answering questions about it, but it's just a really difficult game to talk about.
Yeah, especially like if its central pull is its story and you're trying to avoid spoiling anything. It is a very difficult thing to talk around, but we can see on your face that it's going to be worth the time. What I am also thinking, though, is I probably can't possibly stream this because if the story is so sophisticated and complicated and then I just don't get it, I'm going to look like a right idiot. Darge, are you going to stream it?
Nah, I'm fucking worse than you, mate. I like that, though. I like the way Luke... I had a little look at it, and it's not my usual type of game, like that Persona-esque artwork, you know what I mean? But you bigged up the story, you said it's about 8 hours, is that right? Or whatever it is to beat it. So it's definitely something to contemplate going to at some point. Is he froze or is it me?
I can't tell if he's frozen or if he's really holding a pose.
He's deaf staring something. But yeah, I think you said 8 hours. I'll check it out for sure. Not yet though. Not yet. I'll keep that. That's such an intimidating pose. Like it's putting me off. Oh, he's gone.
He'll be back. I would say.
Him.
Dave Mac, anyway. Thanks for that. Thanks very much. Love it. Don't know what I've done to Dave Mac, but he says I always look like an idiot.
I think he means me, doesn't he? Oh, Gamsley's here. Look, there he is, little fella. Oh, bless him.
Yeah.
So I'll have a look at it. But it's Elden Ring time. I'm not getting sidetracked for nothing. So it's been wish listed.
Isla, I've just realised Luke probably can't get back in here very easily. If you're able to see him in any of the other rooms to pull him across, that would be very helpful. I'm assuming he's going to try and get back in and won't necessarily be able to see where to go because I haven't set Discord up very well. So while we're waiting to see what happens on that one, let's go on to our topics. And we're going to start off with Darge's favourite, and I will skip the VR one actually because we'll wait until Luke is back because you don't even like VR. So we'll talk about the PlayStation Showcase a little bit. Did you manage to catch, I say showcase, PlayStation State of Play? I'll upset some people if I call it a showcase. Some people are upset that it wasn't one already. State of Play.
It was one of the latest nights of my life because I decided to watch the Silent Hill transmission after as well. But I watched the State of Play. I mean, I didn't mind it. I think we were saying in the Discord, I think I gave it, like, if we were scoring it, it's like I'd want to give it an 8, but an 8 would probably be a bit too much. I said 7.5. There was some stuff in there, definitely, like that I looked at. Don't get me wrong, it weren't stuff that I was looking at going, oh, fuck me, I need to go and buy a £400 box for. You know what I mean? But interesting games, you know. I really like, I forget the fucking name, that Ballad. I think it's called Ballad of something. It looked a bit like a Souls-like. That looked good.
With the fish?
Fish. Don't remember the fish.
Just bringing stuff up. Ballad of Antara.
Antara, that's it. Yeah, it was a bit like a Souls-likey type game. That looked nice. Obviously, they announced their Ragnarok's PC port coming mid-September. So I'm happy about that because that's another game making its way over to PC. Literally, I think just Spider-Man 2, Last of Us 2. Obviously, people bring up GT7 and that, but I ain't really holding out hope for them to come over. But obviously that Astro, I love a platformer anyway. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. That ain't going to see PC for quite some time. But it looked really good. Like, it did look good. And also Concord, like, I get it. Yeah, like Tony obviously loves his Overwatch, doesn't he? You know what I mean? And we went into Overwatch and I got absolutely fucking hammered in there.
Yeah.
But it don't mean, like, just because I'm shit at it, I'm going to go out of game shit. You know what I mean? And that Concord, I think the cinematic stuff at the start probably didn't help you. I see a lot of people getting carried away going, oh, I thought it was going to be like a Guardians of the Galaxy or something. It's like, well, it's not. So, you know, get over it, basically. But the gunplay and stuff in that game, it looked like it was something that I'd definitely have a go of. The only problem being is they haven't announced any pricing on that yet, have they? Or am I wrong about that?
Concord, they haven't announced pricing, no. Wrong button.
Really,
they haven't announced pricing. It will be priced, that much we do know. Oh, something's happening. Hey, you got Luke back in. Thank you, Isla, for helping out with that.
I'm very
Thank you,
sorry
Luke, for coming back to us. That is all right.
I'd be really sorry, Luke. Go on, mate. You're all right.
No, sorry to interrupt your train of thought.
I was just going to say, with Concord, I'd be really intrigued because I mean, free to play, right? You know what I mean? Give everyone a crack at it, give it a chance, you know. But then Helldivers, they sold that, and that did really well. So I'll be really interested to see where they price this, game, because if it's fair enough, I'll definitely give it another look at it. You know what I mean?
All right, I'm being accused. So Isla's saying that I said that Astrobot is replacing Little Big Planet. I didn't. I said Astrobot is replacing Sackboy. Astrobot is a high-tech robot Sackboy, which I think is fair because he is. Sackboy already fit the mold of Astrobot almost entirely and had platform games and all the rest of it. I'm afraid, though, it's definitely not replacing Little Big Planet. I didn't mean to get your hopes and excitement up on there. As for it being a good game or otherwise. So Astrobot had a game called Rescue Mission on the PlayStation VR, which was supposed to be one of the best games on that little platform. I didn't do the PlayStation VR, so I didn't actually play it, but it was beloved little platformer, and they also had it as a free pack-in with a PlayStation 5. So every PlayStation 5 comes with Astrobot, I think. Astrobot Playroom, that one's called, isn't it? Which is a blast of PlayStation history and nostalgia as you run around what is essentially a fairly typical 3D platforming game, but it's all PlayStation IP memorabilia and things like that. So you run through and you meet Astrobots dressed as various characters from PlayStation history. You collect bits of PlayStation hardware. It sings you little songs about what's in the PlayStation and what it does. It's a charming little game, particularly if you like the platforming thing. So Astrobot Rescue, not Rescue Mission. Sorry, Darge.
Is Astrobot, is that the only game that took advantage of the blowing capabilities of the DualSense controller?
I think it was, specifically.
I remember Jelton, like we was calling him Jelton John. Like, you remember the guy, the Japanese guy, going, dancing and blowing on it and all that. And then no other game utilised that incredible tech. But yeah, I heard it was good though. Astro's Playroom.
Yeah, it was good, and it did. It was a little tech demo, so it shipped with the PlayStation 5. It was a tech demo. It showed the capabilities of the controller with its resistance triggers and haptics and all of those kind of things. So a lot of the stuff that you did in that game was kind of tech first, build gameplay around it, including the blowing. But it's an interesting little bit of trivia because I'm curious if anybody knows. Have there been any other PlayStation 5 games that require you to blow on the controller? Because there's a lot of games on the platform that a lot of us haven't played, and that's a terrible feature that probably hasn't been used anywhere. But if anybody knows an exception, if anybody has had to do that outside of Astro's Playroom, then please let us know. I'm going to bring up the trailer for Astro's whatever in a minute. Luke, you caught the PlayStation State of Play?
I did. Yep.
Tell me about it overall and some highlights.
Overall, it was fine. I think if you went into it expecting, showcase level stuff, then you were going to be disappointed pretty significantly. It wasn't that, because they have the PlayStation showcases for that, which is a separate thing, and that kind of denotes a much grander show in terms of first party reveals in particular. So I went in expectations pretty low. I expected Concord to be there and expected Astro to be there, so I got those. And the big one for me was Astro. That kind of saved the whole thing, I thought, because I loved. So I played Rescue Mission and really enjoyed it. And I really enjoyed Playroom, which was obviously just a little 5-hour experience, but it's one of the most enjoyable, fun things you can play on PlayStation 5 to this day. So I was pretty hyped for them, Team Asobi to be making like a fully fledged game. And I just thought the trailer for it was fantastic. It reminded me of, and not to say it will be this good, but I wouldn't surprise me if it could get close. It reminded me of like Mario Odyssey in terms of how creative everything is, and how many, unique mechanics they're trying to put in the platforming and all these kind of different things. And then obviously it's really nice to have like that little, they're keeping that PlayStation homage train going, with the various other Astro characters that are dressed as, cosplaying as, classic characters and stuff. So I really like that in the in Playroom. So I'm really looking forward to that, and it's not that far away. Apart from that, not many highlights. Concord was a really interesting one because Sony were very high on that game, and apparently still are. And then to show it in that way after a big CG reveal and just say, well, it's a 5v5 hero shooter effectively was a bit underwhelming. I was expecting it to be a bit more than that. I'm nothing against hero shooters. I really like hero shooters, but today's day and age, trying to sell a hero shooter, as a premium product, that's quite difficult, like to get a big audience out of that, because you have a lot of competition. A lot of them are free to play. So I'm really interested to play that game. I'm looking forward to actually getting my hands on it. But the problem they're going to have is, even if it plays exceptionally well and it's really fun, that's not necessarily going to tempt people into actually going and paying whatever price the game will be. So I think it's a bit of a dangerous product, that one, for them. But I don't know what the success level is for it. Like, who knows? But yeah, like as a state of play overall, it was
Yeah.
It's solid. It was fine.
Yeah. I thought it was another one that I completely forgot about was Monster Hunter Wilds.
Oh, they look great.
And the way, yeah, and like I was saying when I was watching it along with Crypt and Raph, like it'd be interesting to see what that game does without the like with Dragon's Dogma and all the like computer it was doing and the frame pacing issues in the busy areas. It'd be easier. You'd like to think that the workload would be a bit less in Monster Hunter Wilds, and hopefully it'll just show even better for it. You know what I mean? Because it was a good showing. I thought what they showed there. I'm not a Monster Hunter player, but yeah, that's another one to keep a lookout on. Definitely, that's next year, isn't it? That ain't this year though, is it? It's 2025, isn't it? Yeah, yeah, that's another one.
He's a good point on its performance relative to Dragon's Dogma being the same studio and presumably the same engine. Not the same studio, but still Capcom, probably the same engine. The thing that brought Dragon's Dogma's performance down was always AI. So it depends how clever these beasts are. There's loads of them on screen, and if they're all thinking about how they can interact with the world in the way that a Dragon's Dogma NPC does, then keep your expectations for performance in check. But if they're dumb, it'll be fine.
That was obviously I know we don't do rumours, you know what I mean, but obviously Dragon's Dogma 2 was on RE Engine, and the rumour was that Capcom always sort of try things in threes, so they're doing 3 open world games, this being the second, and then the rumour was they were going to try and do a Resident Evil open world in RE Engine. So like you say, each game as they go. Yeah, I'm not saying that that's happening. That was just saying I heard. But long story short, hopefully each open world game in that engine, it'll get better every time. You know what I mean? Because they learn from it.
Yeah, Darge Games has got a super chat for you. He says, for real, why do you look sleepy?
When Gamsley grows up and he becomes a big man, he'll realise life gets harder. You can't stay young forever. So one day it'll catch up on the small fella.
To wave that in front of him like he's going to get bigger. I don't think he is, Dutch. I don't think he is.
I know.
Gamsley, I'm not ignoring you. Thank you for the super chat. It is appreciated. And there was a milestone message from Isla as well, which said, my disappointment is immeasurable and my day is ruined, which I'm hoping is about Astrobot and not about our little podcast show. I'm sorry, Isla, I didn't mean to get your hopes up about a new little big planet, but there we go. Dave Mack has an answer for blowing his controller. He says he blew his controller when he was playing Gran Turismo to remove a fly, which is the closest thing to an answer that we've got. I'm not sure you get many points for it, Dave Mack, but I do appreciate the attempt. Did either of you play the Sackboy platformer, Big Adventure or whatever it was called?
Yeah, I did.
Luke's not in.
Yeah,
was that good?
I haven't, but I'll be short quickly. I haven't played it. Is it still available on Steam?
Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah, so I'll probably end up getting to that at some point, but I haven't played it. That's me out.
Tell me when you do, Darge. I'll play it with you. Multiplayer, that one. But Luke, you have played it. Was it a good game?
Yeah, I did play it, but I didn't actually play loads of it. It just got lost on my backlog, basically. But it was, from the few hours I played, it was very fun. It's got some great Rayman Legends-esque music levels, which is one of the best things any platformer can do. So yeah, it was very fun. It was very fun.
Is Sackboy dead? Has he been killed by Astrobot?
I don't think he's been murdered yet, but I think he's on the precipice of it. It's hard to know. Like, I don't know. Like, I mean, Media Molecule are working on their new game. I don't think we don't know what that is, but I suspect it will be something that they'll aim for more commercial success than Dreams. So, if they were doing that, Little Big Planet would be an obvious choice, wouldn't it, to go back to it? But who knows?
I think there's in terms of like literally the characters as mascots and whatever, there's so much overlap between the two of them in that they are styled the same and animated pretty much the same. Astrobot's got a few more like jetpacks and things to make him cooler, but they have that same play on PlayStation history. Like you stick a Kratos tattoo on either of them and you're there. Yes. So I don't know. Sackboy is dead, I think, but But we shall see, you know. Media Molecule are still there. They have kept him on. He's on life support. He's on fire, I reckon. I reckon. Anything else before we move on to other bits and pieces? Anything else from the PlayStation State of Play from either of you?
Do you want to talk on Silent Hill 2 showing now?
I do, actually, because you're particularly interested in that, Darge, aren't you? So I didn't watch the Silent Hill 2 thing that they had after the State of Play. Although a lot of people watched the PlayStation showcase and said, "Whoa, Bloober Team are terrible. This looks awful." And then they watched the direct, whatever they called it, the transmission thing you just said, and came away a little bit more pleased about what they'd seen. It sounds like both of you have seen that. Darge,
I don't like obviously, like Crypt, who's in the chat, like he was really pleased with what you see, and I said aesthetically, like the environments and the fog and all this stuff, it all looked good. It was just the character models that I thought looked a little bit weird, you know, like a little bit. They didn't blend with the environment as well. They sort of stood out. And then the animations, but then I think Replicant, who's in the chat as well, I think he said like the sort of stuff that we were seeing was sort of like 30 FPS. It was quite slow and clunky and heavy anyway in the showings that they did. And obviously, we don't know what footage that was they were showing, how old like that build was. They got polish and stuff like that. So it's not what you're going to get at the end. Obviously, there should be some improvements, but overall, like. I probably will. I will be there day one because why not? It definitely the tone, like it just looks fucking really eerie. You know what I mean? It's like obviously you played the original, but we've come a long way graphically since then, and obviously Bloober with the medium and stuff like that was like, you know what I mean? I don't know. This. I don't know. I'm kind of hopeful, like for this game now when it drops. It's going to be one of those, isn't it? It'll probably have a fucking NDA that will run up until about fucking 2 hours before it goes live, and then we'll see what happens. But you know, overall, some of the character models, which I mean, like obviously it's going around as a bit of a meme. I always forget her name. What's the dark-haired woman? Begins with an A, doesn't it?
Angela,
yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously, the one of her crouched down by the tombstone, and it just looks like a cartoon drawing. You know, it's not the greatest character model, you know, but obviously, when you're showing footage here now, and it looks great. When you're going up against the Resident Evil remakes, which are like pinnacle, like they're peak. You know what I mean? They're just so, in my opinion, anyway, they're just so well done across the board. It ain't bad. And also, you got to remember it's that Konami factor. You know what I mean? Like Konami are fucking carnage. So yeah, we'll see. They obviously recruited someone in cheapish in Bloober. That's it. We'll see what happens. But I'm all right. I'm on board. With it.
Are you on board though? So are you on board because you liked Silent Hill 2 like 100 years ago when it came out, or just based on what you're seeing here?
I mean, I'm on board. Like seeing what I see here, I like obviously I've got PC. Yeah, so I like things like Hellblade 2. You know, I like things that push things and also and obviously when we come through the eras of gaming that we've come through, you know, the fact that we look at stuff like this and critique character models and stuff like that, you know, this is fucking, you know, it's good looking, you know. So I'm intrigued. I want to go back through the story. Obviously, like I said to you before, last week I've done Resident Evil 7. You know, retellings of old stories, like Luke said, and Replicant in the Discord, you know, they have to stick quite tight with the story in this one, because if they stray off too far, it'll just get fucking caned hard. I don't think they'd be that silly, but again, Konami. I mean, they already came out with that statement, didn't they, Bloober, like a few months back, going, "Oh, when Konami are ready," like, and it was like a bit catty, you know, the comment, as if like it's not all holding hands, happy, plain sailing over there. You know what I mean? So that's like a little red flag straight away. So, like I say, on what they showed here, yeah, I'm still on board with it, and yeah, hopefully it does well.
Yeah, I think the last showing that they had for the game as well, Bloober came out and said like that trailer's not our fault. That shouldn't have been released looking like that. The game's better than this trailer. We're sorry for the way it was put together. Which you're right, the Konami relationship is obviously a little bit weird. They're a strange company trying to get back into being a games publisher after discarding us as garbage a while ago. Luke, Silent Hill 2, Bloober, the medium, the original Silent Hill stuff. What do you reckon?
Well, yeah. I'm mainly with Darge on this one, I think, because we were watching the transmission as it was happening. So I'm a huge Silent Hill 2 fan. I think personally that it's probably the best survival horror game ever made, but that's just me. And if you'd have asked me who would I like to, it's going to be remade. It has to be remade. Who would you choose to remake it? Bloober would have been like the very last choice. I would have gone kicking and screaming into that choice, because I've played a few of Bloober's games. So I played The Medium, I played Observer, I played the first Layers of Fear for a bit, and Observer was all right, but The Medium was not good, like really not good at all. Layers of Fear was not very good. So like when they first unveiled the project, I was cautiously optimistic, because the thing that Bloober are really bad at is writing stories, and if you've already got the story, then theoretically you should be all right. So the first showing was pretty good, but then it had this weird like inverse line decay where it just continued to look worse every time they put it out, and they'd concentrate on things like the combat, which is like, the combat in the first game was not good. I get why people they want to do that, because they want to, they're trying to get people in who don't play Silent Hill or have never really experienced it. And the way that you'll generally do that is showing them, shooty guns and big shotguns and James, dual wielding pistols or whatever. But it just doesn't like it's not, Silent Hill is not about that. It's about like being in the atmosphere and moving through the environment and the story and the atmosphere, like just the tension of it all. That's what it's about. So when they showed the state of play trailer, I was pretty disappointed, because I thought it looked not very good. And then they showed the transmission, which is like a big cut of gameplay, and I thought, this looks good. Like, why didn't they need to show more of this? They need to show more of James just walking down a street, because they nailed that. Like they nailed the thing you need to nail. So I'm more optimistic. If as I said on the Discord, if they start changing the story, then there's going to be real issues, because it's quite a sacred story in terms of like amongst horror gaming fans. And you can get away with doing stuff like that, like Square Enix have done with Final Fantasy. But the difference is that they're actually excellent writers, and that they created the original version of this. So if Bloober start doing, they could do some really weird stuff with this, and I just don't want them to do it. Just keep the story faithful, but keep, if it's faithful to that gameplay demonstration, then I think it could actually be quite good. But let's see. Like, I also don't know how it's going to run on PC. It's UE5, it's Bloober. That does not sound like a good mix based on Bloober's history. Don't know. Like, it looks really nice though. So let's just wait and see.
It does.
It does. And there's a million other Silent Hill products coming as well, which I assume are all going to be terrible, right? This is the slim hope for a good one.
Yeah. Silent Hill F, which looks really interesting. Which has I can't remember who's writing the story, but he's like super talented writer, so that could be cool. But they did the short message, which was that little downloadable thing that was weird, really weird.
Okay.
It's very scattergun, their approach to Silent Hill. They just decided one day we're going to bring it back, and we're just going to do anything we can get our hands on. So
that's just Konami in a nutshell, though, isn't it? That's another thing. Is obviously the Metal Gear 3 remake. You don't even know who's fucking developing that. I don't. I'm saying I don't even know who's developing it. So it's like, obviously, they showed you a cut of it in UE5. But I have to wait and see. But I was just gonna segue just one more from the state of play for you VR boys. The Alien game.
No, the Behemoth game. Come on now.
Well, but just talk about the VR games, because I don't care about either of them. Sorry. Do you know what I mean? But they were there.
They were indeed. You're right. that moves us on to the VR thing afterwards anyway, so we'll talk about those really briefly. If you were watching it and you don't have much experience of what is and isn't a good VR game, I'm not writing off the Alien game as being a bad game or anything along those lines, but the trailer showed it was too scattered, it was too split up. It didn't really show what that's going to be like in terms of atmosphere, presence, or anything particularly useful. So you can take a look at things like Alien Isolation and say, I really hope that it ends up being like that. But they didn't show a lot. And Servios, the team that are making it, are very well experienced with VR, and there is a good chance that that ends up being a better game than the trailer kind of showed of it. But Behemoth, you might have looked at that trailer and thought, well, this looks a bit like a crusty old pancake game. It doesn't. It looks freaking awesome, Behemoth. If you've ever played any Blade and Sorcery or anything like that and got an appreciation for what well-constructed kind of physics-based combat can feel like, and then you've added these giant monsters to it. I was trying to find the trailer while I'm talking, but that game is the one that I'm going to put on rather than Aliens, actually. That game looks like it is going to be amazing when it comes out across all of the platforms that it comes to. Luke, you say you like VR, but not as much as I do. What did you think of the VR presence at the showcase?
Well, it was presence is a strong word, I think, for the showcase. But you know, and maybe that's the problem with PSVR 2 at the minute. But Behemoth looked really cool, actually. Really, really cool. I really like the look of it. And initially, I kind of looked at it and just was like, oh, well, it's, you know, generic fantasy game, but just some of the mechanics that they've got going on in that, and as you say, the scale of some of the things they were demonstrating, you can imagine that in VR. I imagine it will be very impressive. So I am quite interested in that. I'm going to make you upset now because I am actually more interested in Alien.
That's okay. You can be wrong.
But well, yeah, exactly. That's because. But what I'll say about that is, one, I'm a really big Alien fan, and I've always wanted like an Alien Isolation type experience, but in VR, made from the ground up. Who knows if that will deliver on how great Alien Isolation was. But I do agree with you in that the showing of this was not good, because not only did they only show like 3 independent clips of gay, and they were like 2 seconds long each, but in every single clip that they showed, the frame rate was all over the place, which does not, like, it's not a great way to show that, particularly when it's a VR game where frame rate is absolutely paramount. So it's work in progress, obviously, but so should hopefully be fine at launch. But it didn't fill me with any confidence, or rather, it filled me with dread, but not from playing the game because of the horror, but playing it and then being sick, probably. But we'll see.
Yeah, that's so when I was talking about Alien and the showing not being anywhere near as promising, it's not that the game won't be good. Like I say, Servios are a good VR studio. They do know their stuff. They've got a lot of VR games under their belt, and they probably will come up with something good there. But that trailer didn't particularly sell it. It didn't have anything that you know really told me what I can do that's fun in that game. And it didn't really set the atmosphere either, because like you say, everything was a brief look through a corridor, and then it almost showed too much of the alien. Like there was the alien present in it, and the camera just kind of drifted casually towards it, and it's like it's this would be freaking terrifying if this was in front of me in VR, but it's really not terrifying in this trailer. So yeah, I'm hopeful that the game turns out good, but Behemoth I'm more confident in, because that looks like a lot of things that I already love about VR. And if you've never played Blade and Sorcery, please do give it a go when you get the opportunity, because it is not an experience that you can replicate in a pancake game to actually fight with swords and shields and stuff in the way that you do in those games. And I do love it. Speaking of VR though, speaking of this limited presence that the PlayStation VR 2 had at Sony Showcase, they did also confirm, they announced a little while back, like a couple of months ago, that they wanted the PlayStation VR 2 to work on a PC, and there was lots of speculation about what that might look like and how it would work. Some rumors hit last week when an adapter was certified, and they have now formally announced that this is how it's going to work. You're going to get, for 50 quid or $60, you're going to get a little breakout box for your PC. Plug it into your PC, download a little app to configure your PlayStation VR, download Steam, and then you can use this device. You can use your PlayStation VR 2 on a PC to play the library of Steam VR games, including Blade and Sorcery that I was just talking about, Half-Life Alyx and all of these kind of things. It also came with a list of limitations, things that are included in the headset that won't work on Steam, such as the pressure triggers, the eye tracking and foveated rendering and things like that. Things that Steam VR just doesn't currently support anyway. And response to it has been mixed. I've said things about this device and Sony's handling of VR plenty of times, so people probably broadly know my thoughts on it. I'm happy to go over it again a bit. But Luke, you're a VR chap. What's going on with PlayStation VR 2 and Sony's handling? Is this adapter good? Is the device dead? Is it going to get a second lease of life because everyone wants to buy this adapter and play Half-Life Alyx? Like, what's the story?
Yeah, I think the it's a difficult one, because I think this is good for people who have bought into PSVR 2, like myself, who don't have a dedicated PC headset, right, or a standalone. Because for me, it saves me having to go out and then purchase another headset to play games on Steam. So from that perspective, I really like it. But and I imagine there are more people like me out there, but I can't imagine that's a huge amount of the PlayStation audience, because you'd have to have a weird crossover of people who play a lot of PS5 and a lot of PC, and that's probably, in reality, that's probably quite low. At least in terms of the people who overlap in PSVR 2 as well. So for me, it's good, and for fellow PSVR 2 VR 2 owners like me, that's good, because it does give this a fresh lease of life in a world where actually Sony are really almost distancing themselves from committing to a VR future in terms of game development, because it at least says, okay, well, they're now going to make games, but now you have access to everybody else who makes games, really, in the place where VR itself is much more successful anyway, and so there are more games there. Like, that's good for me, but it's not good for the message that it sends, I guess, for Sony support of it in general, because I think I saw some people saying, well, why would you, like, if you want to play VR on PC, why would you buy this headset? But that's not what this move is at all. They're not trying to get PC gamers to invest in their headset to play on PC, because why would they? And, like, it's just pretty silly to do that. It's literally for their base of consumers that have bought PSVR 2 and are looking at it and going, well, what's coming out? Like, I don't have a clear kind of roadmap of games coming out. You're not supporting it from a first party perspective, so what do I do? And Sony's answer is pretty convoluted, but it's just, well, there's a PC there, maybe in your room or like around you, like go and use it on that. So I'm happy they did it, because, like, for me, I wanted to play Half-Life Alyx for a long time, for example. That's been a big boon for me. But yeah, I don't think it says much about the state of the hardware in general in terms of Sony support. In fact, I think that it's pretty fatal to that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was my take on it when they first announced the PC support as well. It feels very much, and this was prior to them shutting down all the VR studios. They announced that they were looking at PC support, and then it was like 2 weeks later or something, they closed all of their VR studios, and it absolutely feels like they are washing their hands of having to develop anything for this device, including the Astro game. So Astro started off its life as a PSVR game, and a lot of people wanted that to come and push this next device. And it's a shame, because the hardware, the PlayStation VR headset, is a really good headset. I'm not saying it's the best on the market or anything like that, but it does proper VR. It does the experiences that I rant and rave about competently, and they just decided not to. And you can totally understand, like, business perspective and all of that boring stuff, that it's not a viable space to make games. I understand it, but it just sucks, because it's never going to become viable if people don't, like, people with that position like Sony have and Valve have and Meta have, throw some weight behind it and invest in those games. It will never be there. Now we are completely reliant on Meta if it is going to get there, or small indie projects. Darge?
I was just going to say, like, obviously I don't care about VR, you know what I mean? But obviously you both have had your opinion on it. Sony are fucking shrewd, you know what I mean? Like, you know, when we did this a couple of months back and we were saying about they're sitting on a load of stock and this, that, and the other, and then they're like, all right, let's get this little bracket out there, this adapter. So there is the chance, you know, like when you're saying about the chances of PS5 owners with the headset, yeah, who also have a good gaming PC is a very small amount of people, you know. If you get the headset, you think about it, you've got a gaming PC, you're on the gaming side, and you go, like, they've just gone in a sale, right? Do you know what I mean? So the arse has gone out the price a little bit. So if they stick around now, you go, all right, it's not a bad headset, I'll get it. But then obviously certain features won't be working on the PC side of thing. They might end up selling another console on the strength of that. You know what I mean? I don't actually know the strength of their library, you know, but you say about small pools of people with regards to thingy, they could also be relying on the small pool of people who have just got a gaming PC, want to pick up this headset, give it a go, and go, oh, there's some features missing, it'll play better on our system. And they go, fuck it, I'll go and buy another box when they come down in price, you know, in a year or two's time. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, they've broadened their horizons with their stock of headsets. You know what I mean? Like, there could be the PC user who says, fuck it, I'll give the PlayStation one a go. Do you know what I mean? Instead of buying a MetaQuest 3 or whatever. I don't really know the prices, but at the end of the day, they're broadening the market, right? And then also they could have a bonus of someone getting out who's just a PC player and going, oh, all these other features could be used through our console, and then go and pick up one of their consoles at some point in a Black Friday sale or something. You know what I mean? So if they hadn't have done nothing, they'd have just been sitting on it, wouldn't they? Do you know what I mean?
Mhm.
So with this adapter, it's like an Apple move, isn't it? You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, we patented this £60 adapter, yeah, but now you need the adapter to use it on your big beastly PC. But then also there's the opportunity of people going, well, actually, I might give their headset a go. So you see what happens.
I reckon
Tell me
they
I'm
are
wrong.
killing it in a nasty way. The only, like, the silver lining for me is that they could have done less, right? They could have said, you already bought it and there's no games for it. Whatever,
Yeah.
like, we're wiping our hands of it. So they could have done less. They could have not helped someone like Luke. The features that are missing, the haptics and the HDR and stuff like that, I think there's a fair chance that those come in time, but those features are simply not supported on Steam and OpenXR at the moment. So people are angry at Sony for making a half-assed effort, but if Sony wanted to support these haptic triggers, there is not a game on Steam, there is not an OpenXR extension to hook into. If they wanted HDR, it's in its infancy. Like, Steam seem to be prepping for HDR devices, but it's not a thing that exists yet. So there's no kind of anger in that regard from me. Like, they're supporting the features that they can support, and I think they are trying in that regard. I think it is not, I'm not satisfied with the gesture. I couldn't recommend anybody buys a PlayStation VR2. I can only say I suppose they could have done less, and that's, you know, biggest compliment I can muster on that one, really. No, Stephen, it's not like 3D TVs. Don't poke at me, I'll get angry. Let's move on to, so that was the PlayStation stuff. There was some things in there, but it wasn't a massive showcase like the ones that we've got coming up, except for Jeff Keighley's, because he's come out and said Summer Games Fest is not going to be very good this year, or something along those lines.
He basically said, just don't bother, just turn it off.
Yeah, but Jeff Keighley's like, this is what I said online. Like, Jeff Keighley comes out and says, "Oh, don't expect any blockbusters." That means Jeff Keighley's saying, "Oh, I haven't got any, like, you know, big absolute." Everyone talking about it, announcements. Doesn't mean it's going to be a shit show. It just means Jeff's ego ain't going to get fucking marinated, like, for that day. It doesn't mean it's going to be a bad show. You know, they're going to show stuff. But when he comes out and says, "Oh, you know, he could be double bluffing," you know what I mean? And there could be something there, you know what I mean? But he ain't going to, like, over egg the pudding, you know what I mean? And go, "Oh, I've got this, that, and the other." Because if I remember rightly, off of last year, did he have any, like, big reveals last year, like actual jaw droppy? I don't think, I off memory, I can't remember him having a big wow moment. You know what I mean? So usually they do that at the Game Awards, like, they'd have more then. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So my expectations would just be in check for all of these showcases. You know what I mean? So if Jeff comes out and goes, "Oh, you won't be talking about me, you know, all over the weekend," it doesn't mean it's going to be a shit show, does it? Do you know what I mean? Like, some of the best games I see last year were from his showcase, you know? So yeah, I'm not overly worried about Jeff, and he's downplaying, so to speak, because we all have different perspectives and opinions on things, right? So yeah, don't worry
So
about it.
one thing he did say alongside that is he didn't say it's going to be like a relatively quiet showcase for Summer Games Fest. He said the whole industry was quiet this year. Luke, what's going on with Summer Game Fest? Is the game industry like quiet this year? Are you excited for this particular one? We'll talk about the Xbox One and any of the other showcases afterwards, but Summer Game Fest first.
Yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily agree. I think what Jeff means is outside of, say, Microsoft, who will show a lot of big games at their showcase. I think probably what it means is it's not a big year in the industry for the other platform holders to announce stuff, and I haven't, Jeff saying I haven't got anything from them. Basically, I mean, I suspect he might have something from Sony, but based on his language, it won't be anything big. So I don't agree with Jeff in terms of game releases and that sort of thing, but I get what he might mean in context. I'm not looking forward to it. Yes, I am, because they are usually pretty good shows, and as Darge said, like, just like, if you keep your expectations in check with these, then you'll never be that disappointed. And it's still going to be 2 hours with lots and lots of games. And Jeff said as much, and he said there's going to be a big indie presence there, which I'm really excited for, because often those are some of the most impressive games in the market and some of the most imaginative ones. I'm sure he will have some big games there, but I think he said, they're concentrating on this year on like announced games, like more reveals from announced games. I'm looking forward to the 45-minute Hideo Kojima slot, hopefully, that we'll get. That would be great. Not for other people, but for me it would. And Darge, actually.
I'm looking forward to Kojima section now. I was just going to say, one of the best bits of thing Jeff come out and said, that 2-hour show you're talking about, he's come out and said there's going to be no one of cringy live music acts and performances and all this stuff. So it should just be 2 hours of video games, and that's it.
Which is good. Yeah, so so I'm looking forward to it. I'm sure it will be a good show if you like video games. If you like massive, big blockbuster AAA surprises, it probably will not be a good show for you. But then, just at least, to be fair to Jeff, at least he's come out and tried to level expectations about it, rather than saying, because it'd be very easy for him to be like, yeah, you got to tune in to find out, this is going to be really great, and because it benefits him to get more people watching it. But he's been quite open, and I think people should appreciate that.
He's also like the guy who, like, any showcase or anything that happens, he's the guy who sticks the poll out and goes, what would you rate this? So if he's out here going, this showcase we got coming out is going to change your life, and then he does his cringe, what rating would you give us, and gets tanked out on the ease, like, do you know what I mean? He'd be like a little bit cringe. So it's just keep your expectations in check, you know what I mean? That's it, basically.
My main expectation for Summer Game Fest is usually that it'll be 50% adverts, like paid product placement adverts and streamers and stuff. So if they beat that ratio, then I will not be disappointed. And like you say, there will be games. There's going to be tons of games. If they're games we already know about, they're likely games I haven't played, and I'm excited.
It's going to be, I think
it.
it's going to be all right. I think, when Jeff comes out saying, it's been a quiet year, I'm not saying that he's saying like, just Sony. I think Sony are having a quiet year in general. I think when everyone's on top of their game, then it's like, oh my God, there's so much happening. You know what I mean? For him, he probably hasn't got anything from Sony, you know what I mean, to show. He might have like I don't know, some fucking like expansion for something or something along the line Sony-esque, you know what I mean? But it hasn't been a quiet year. I mean, like they say about last year was like one of the best years ever, and this year's been fine up until this point. And I said the summer months look a bit quiet until like the end of August, which is Star Wars Outlaws. So hopefully these showcases and stuff over the next week or so, hopefully there's some, not shadow drops, but like games that are coming out within the next sort of 3 months, and it'll start populating, getting double busy again, you know, into the
Mhm.
full time. So yeah, I'm sweet. My expectations are locked.
Flusher said there as well, he doesn't care about Jeff and the big show stuff. He's happy for the disaggregated approach, which is something that we always see. There are always a whole load of other showcases, publishers that want to do their own thing, and part of this is going to be like Nintendo don't want to talk to Jeff, and various other publishers are doing their own thing. So he's got an audience. There's value in some cases, but in a lot of cases they don't want to share the spotlight. We are seeing a lot of shows. Are there any other shows coming up over the next week that you're aware of that you're looking forward to? Go on.
Yeah, I think you know what show I'm looking forward to, mate. I don't know why you're flirting with me like that. I mean, surely, you know, like when we say about the industry on the whole, obviously Microsoft now have acquired
Not
fucking
that one.
ABK. No, that's the one. That's the one I'm looking forward to. Like when they got
I thought you were going to say like Devolver Digital or something neat like that.
Oh no, I'll watch them, but I'm not sitting here in a fucking pour my own sweat, like unable to get through the week over it. Like I'm not doing that over the Xbox One, to be fair. But I watch all of them now. You know, like the PC gaming one, not just because I just watch because you know they all show different bits and different games in different places. You know, but yeah, the Xbox showcase should it should be good. Like there's you want to talk about it, Asa?
No, see, I thought when you said that I know, I didn't think you would go Xbox because that's the low hanging fruit easy answer. Of course, the Xbox one is a big deal, but there's Ubisoft, there's Devolver Digital. I thought you'd pick one of those two because you're always on about. Yeah, you love your Star Wars Outlaws. You keep quietly hyping it up in the background, going, I'm a little bit cautious to hype it up, but really I love it. It's going to be a banger.
Star Wars Outlaws is made by Massive. That game's going to be absolutely fine. I see the gameplay footage that they showed, obviously, excuse me, last year when it was revealed at Xbox, and then they said join us at Ubisoft Forward for gameplay segment. It looked great. It's Star Wars. You know, you can get it wrong. You can get it massively fucking wrong if the story's pony. Like, you know, if you feel like you're in this world, you know, and the story's drab and it becomes a chore, then it can be bad. But massive gameplay wise, I liked what I saw. So yeah, I'll definitely be playing this day one when it comes out. I mean, obviously, you know, with Ubisoft, they'll talk about Assassin's Creed Shadows. Going to get a lot more gameplay of that over the next week or so. So that's something to look forward to as well. If I mean, Assassin's Creed, like I can take it or leave it after Valhalla personally, but there's loads of stuff, man. There's loads of showcases. Like this is the best time of the year for me. Like I love it. Let Luke talk. What are you looking forward to, Lukey?
Devolver. I always like those, but just because of the acid trip that those shows are.
Yeah.
And then they also put some games in there, and that's great as well. So, and they're just a great publisher. So them, there's the Guerrilla Collective on Thursday, which is a big indie focused one. That's always really good. Ubisoft, I am quite looking forward to this year, if only because I am on the Darge Outlaws hype train. I think purely because it will look spectacular, albeit I am a big Star Wars fan and I do think Massive are a good studio. So I'm looking forward to it as a project. Assassin's Creed, I normally wouldn't be that hyped for, but I'm pretty hyped for this one in Japan. We might get reveal, which will be Splinter Cell, maybe. So, you know,
You're right.
Could be some good stuff. But yeah, those ones would be good. I have to say I'm not a fan of the PC gaming show.
It's too long, isn't it?
It's way too long. It's way too cringe, and usually it's like just not good.
I think they came out. Did they come out? Did they come out and say it weren't going to be as long this year? I think they came out and they've addressed that. I think they because it is too long.
It's like 3 hours sometimes.
Yeah, three and a half,
2.5 hours, and it's way too long, and the content doesn't justify that time.
No.
Because it's kind of the showcase where everything else gets announced, and it's usually the stuff that doesn't look great. So if they can condense it and actually put some quality stuff in there, that would be much better. But I'm not looking forward to it.
Yeah, because they're all like all these showcases are all worth watching, like, you know what I mean? Because if like Xbox, for example, like obviously, like say Assassin's Creed Shadows, or you know, they get revealed on a certain stage, but then they'll go join us such and such. And like PC Gaming Show last year, there was some stuff shown that, like, for example, Summer Games, fucking whatever he calls it, yeah, Summer Games Fest. They show something there. You'll watch the PC gaming. They bring the same game back up, but they'll show you different
Yeah.
stuff. You know, it's not like the same thing every time. So, you know, it's definitely worth if you can do it. I mean, they're all on demand on YouTube anyway now. So if it's a time time zone constraint, then you can just watch them the next day. But they're definitely worth watching it because some of them go a little bit deeper on games that only got a CGI reveal somewhere else. You know.
So all of those things, absolutely good. Loads of stuff coming up, but there is the Xbox One as well. I don't want to go into masses of predictions and stuff, but I do want to know, because we've run quite a long show already, but I want to know, I'll start with Luke. The Xbox Showcase is coming up, is probably the biggest of the bunch. Is there anything in particular that you're kind of desperately hoping for or concerned about, or anything along those lines? What have Xbox got to do with this show?
They just have to show good games that look impressive, I think, and show a lot of them, just to hype up the slate of games that they've got in the next few years. In terms of what I want, the one before it was even rumored that I wanted was Doom, and it looks like I'll get that. So that's a huge one for me, because I'm a big Doom fan, and it's going to be running new id tech. It's going to look absolutely bonkers. It might be medieval, which just sounds like the best concept I've ever heard of, to be honest, for a Doom game. So really looking forward to seeing that, hopefully. The other one I really want to see is, I want to see Fable gameplay, like an extended sequence. I really want to just see what that looks like moment to moment. So but there's a lot, right? Like, I mean, Gears, that would be, I mean, that could look incredible. The Perfect Dark, they could re-reveal. State of Decay, there's tons. I won't go into all of them, but the big one for me was Doom. So fingers crossed we actually get it.
I have to know though. So you said that the medieval Doom sounds like a great concept to you, but like in your head, what are you seeing for medieval Doom? Is it demons running around in full on plate armor, or?
Yeah, it's just yeah. Yeah, it's like the cyber demon, but just like with a helmet and stuff like that, like very light touch. No, I think it's like, to be honest, there was that, what area was it in Doom Eternal? I can't remember, but it's the like heavenly area of Doom Eternal is actually very high fantasy inspired. And I feel like it'll look a lot like that, but grimier, basically, and you'll have some like freaky weapons, like some weird stuff. So that's what I'm envisaging in my head, but I'm a terrible artist, so I can't put that out there on paper, otherwise I would. But yeah, that's what I see, and I just think it'll look amazing as well. I just think it'll look incredible.
Yeah, definitely, man. Like I say, I'll just jump on. Like Luke just started natting off everything that I probably would have said. You know, I would love to see State of Decay 3. I would absolutely love to see a nice scenario of gameplay for State of Decay 3, to see how that game's built out now, because the idea is so great, but it's just poorly executed, and it's because of limitations, because they were indie, you know what I mean, or like second party with Microsoft financing. But now, I'd love to see something from that, you know. And obviously, I'm a big Doom, like modern Doom as well now. Like, you know, 2016 Doom Eternal, I love them. So anything id Tech, I mean, is it id Tech 8? Is that the new engine 8? I think.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it's 8. Yeah. So yeah, anything from them. I mean, Indiana Jones, see a bit more of that. Fable, I'd like to see a nice, you know, just a nice segment of Fable, you know, in a quite busy area, you know, where your character's going through the crowd off to do like little quests, just you know, just being around a heavily populated area, you know, just to see that Forza Tech engine instead of a slice of action, you know, like a nice played out. But that's the thing, like, that's why it's not because I'm an Xbox guy anymore, but because every showcase we should have high expectations for Xbox every year now going forward. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, we ain't even mentioned between us Starfield's Shattered Space expansion. Like me personally, I didn't mind Starfield. Was going to go back for the update. Deadly Headley, who's on with you on the Xbox show, he's gone back lately, and I'm holding off for the expansion. That'll probably get shown. It's going to be a busy show, so yeah, can't wait for it.
So
what
you're
about
telling
you?
me you're keeping your expectations in check, except for Xbox. They have to smash it.
I mean, listen, if you're gonna run around town, I'm not, but if you run around town flexing about $70 billion worth of fucking acquisition, you should be expecting. You shouldn't be like, obviously, when I was the Xbox, guy, loving Xbox and that, we were going through those periods of not great deal first party, and dry and drab and more partnerships and stuff like that. Whereas now, I'm not worried about the exclusivity thing or this, that, and the other, but on their stage, they should have a brilliant show every time going forward now. Like we
Yeah.
ain't even spoke about Avowed. There's so much, like, do you know what I mean? But what are you hoping for?
Those things, all of them games that you said, especially Avowed's obviously sooner on the agenda in that I should be playing it this year, so I very much want to see that looking gorgeous and close to real. Your hand is up.
I was just going to jump in just on Avowed quickly. The last gameplay slice that we see from them was improved on the previous one that they showed. Do you think the one that they showed last was in UE5? Or do you reckon they're going to show again?
I'm so disinterested in that particular engine talk.
No.
I know a lot of people. I don't mean that like in a getting at you kind of way, but whether it's on I don't know what engine it was on before, and if it's on Unreal Engine 5 now, that's also fine. But I'm not a massive Unreal Engine 5 fan because engines are engines, and the toolset does not define the game for me. So if they were to do it on their own bespoke engine, completely in-house, I wouldn't be unhappy with that. If they were to use Creation Engine 2, I wouldn't be unhappy with that. If they're using id Tech or Unreal Engine 5, Creation Engine is a little bit of a controversial statement. I realise that as I say it, that would mean certain things were likely. But generally, though, it's the toolset, and the toolset isn't exciting. The games are exciting for me. So I don't care if it's on Unreal Engine 5 or not. The game already looked fun. I like their writing and their characters. So I'm looking forward to it, whatever it looks like. There's also, I don't know what I'm going to say on that one, actually. I had something else in mind, but then it's gone. But you're absolutely right what you said about expectations for Microsoft. They almost have a responsibility to show well, because they've had a lot of studios for a long time. Even prior to having Activision Blizzard King, they've got a lot of studios, and if they're going to own that much development talent, then they kind of should show us what they're doing with it, give us some confidence that what they're doing with it is as exciting as it should be, as exciting as those developers have historically been capable of, because we know that they are very, very good, and we know that the industry has been shrinking and all the rest of it. So come out and give us excitement for what is coming, what the pipeline looks like, and there should not be any more dips, because they've invested heavily enough to cover any gap really short of incompetence. So hopefully, yeah. What we're going to do, though, is move on to our questions as we move towards wrapping up. So if you are there, Ryla, if you could put up the first question. If you're wanting to stick a question in there, you're still welcome to. I'm not saying we'll definitely get to all of them. I don't know how many there are, but we're going to get at least a few. First one is from Tony. Why don't you have Emulation Station on Steam Deck? You'd be able to play many old games. The primary number one most obvious reason why I don't have Emulation Station on Steam Deck is that I do not have a Steam Deck.
That's a barrier to having it.
It's a barrier to having anything on the Steam Deck. Even the retro games. You're right that oftentimes, because resolutions have changed so much over time, oftentimes a handheld probably is a good way to play an old game and kind of maintain clarity on it. But I just blow it up on a big screen anyway, play it like that, because that's just how I prefer to play in general. Do either of you emulate on any platform?
No.
I did.
Go on, mate.
No, I did on the Steam Deck. I used EmuDeck, but then I sold my Steam Deck to get a Steam Deck OLED, and then since then I haven't reinstalled it, but I did for a brief time. It was actually a really good experience. You get really good stuff on there.
Yeah, I can believe it. And I'm really enjoying playing retro games now. I've probably got like a limit. that even true? Is there a limit on how far back I go to be able to enjoy them? Yeah, it is true. There is. But I'm loving playing some of the older stuff. And we'll keep doing that, as well as the new stuff and the current stuff and the futuristic stuff. It's what we do. We play the games. So let's have the next question, as I'm sure Tony is deeply satisfied with that answer. FTW has asked, how often do you play Halo, Luke? Is that your go-to game? And I look forward to teabagging you in the future. Hopefully. That's one for you, Luke.
Hopefully. Yeah, that hopefully is an operative word there. He has done it before, though. So I don't actually play, contrary to popular belief, I don't actually play it that much. I tend to play, the only time I tend to play it is with you guys. So I don't play that. I have historically played it a lot, but I've always just been really good at Halo from Halo 1 on the original Xbox. So I've always just had a innate gift for being a Master Chief person. So
your gift translates from controllers to keyboard and mouse.
Well, it did. But now, if I play on controller, I'm absolutely hopeless. So it's weird because when I picked it up on keyboard and mouse, I was not good at all, and then I got it, and then I became really good on keyboard and mouse. But if I now go back to playing Halo on controller, I'm terrible. So maybe for fun, I'll do that the next community night, and I'll play on controller, and you'll see me way down the bottom of the leaderboards.
Do you play the campaign with a controller or a keyboard and mouse?
Keyboard and mouse still.
And I can't play with a controller multiplayer, but Halo campaigns I would play with a controller anyway. Just, I don't know, feels normal. Oh.
Yes, it did for me until Infinite, actually, and now I don't know if I could go back. So.
And Infinite does feel really nice with a keyboard and mouse in general. So let's have the next one. It's already there. It's FTW. I want to throw my other weekly question out there. What is the date of the new Nintendo podcast? I can't answer that one, FTW. Neither of these two will be able to answer that one. I appreciate the question, but you'll need to ask Isla in chat. So we'll have to move on from that particular question and do the next. Don't worry, though. It will happen. Ask Gamsley. It's not Gamsley's fault. I'm the one that's being unhelpful, aren't I? Oh, never mind. Moving on from that. Next question, please. And there is, though, if you're wondering, other things on this channel. There is a Nintendo podcast coming. We've got the Arcadia Roundtable on the Tuesdays. We've got the Xbox Series podcast on the Thursdays. I did Q&As on a Wednesday. There's potentially other things coming, but not enough days in the week. Lots of games going on as well. And obviously the Discord server, which everybody should get involved in, because it is nice there. The Gaming Crypt has asked, oh, Gaming Crypt, that's not how you spell my name. That's like a tree or a laptop. But will Asa live stream Elden Ring? Suggest you do. And has Darge played Silent Hill 2 before? One of your favourite games of all time. So Darge, you said you have played Silent Hill 2, haven't you?
Yeah, on the PlayStation 2 back in the day. Yeah.
Okay.
Played it, shit myself. But yeah,
I'm
enjoyed
to playing myself. It again from Bloober. Enjoyed shitting yourself. Elden Ring, I have live streamed a lot of Elden Ring already. I've live streamed at least like 30 or 40 hours of that in the past, but not finished it. So when I go back to playing it, yeah, I will continue to live stream that. Can't promise when that'll be though. Might be really soon. Might take a little bit longer. Replicant has asked, I'm secretly hoping Xbox has a surprise game launching in 2024. Thoughts? Maybe the fabled Gears collection. Anything that we don't already know about that might be coming from Xbox this year?
Not a secret. Well, I mean, that Gears collection's like been fucking rumoured forever, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? It's like it's been rumoured. You know, there was a rumour that it was ready to go at one point around Gears 5. And then now you're moving up towards Gears 6. And it's almost getting to that point where if they do it, you go, oh, look, I told you I was right, even though I claimed it 10 years ago. You know what I mean? So it does make sense. It makes 100% sense, like, to do it. Like they did with the Master Chief collection. You know, that's something that I could definitely see going like third party as well, going onto PlayStation and stuff like that as well if they did do it. But yeah, it's another one that for the last sort of 2 to 3 years you told it was going to be there, you know, and it's never been there. So I don't think they'll have a. I hope they do have a secret. I don't really listen to a lot of podcasts either. Like, you know, where they kind of in the know things. You know, I like a secret. I like being surprised. Hi-Fi Rush, you know, was a surprise. You know, just dropped out of nowhere, ready straight away, and loads of people like dive straight in, and I thought it was a good game. So, yeah, I don't think there will be a surprise. Long story short,
Luke.
Yeah, no, I guess if it's real, possibly, but I just I don't. It'd be weird for them to drop a project like that. You know, wouldn't you'd think that they'd want a bit more marketing with that before they release it, rather than like Hi-Fi Rush was a new IP, you know, a smaller game, so it made sense to shadow drop it. I would just be surprised if they shadow dropped, you know, a thing that actually a lot of people have been asking for quite a long time. Now maybe they will shadow drop something. I think maybe like Towerborn or something like that they've already announced. But something big, I don't know. It'd be cool, but
so we're all saying Bleeding Edge 2 coming, massive CGI trailer, selling
Rush
it like
2.
a movie. Yeah. And
I
then
said
bang.
that the other day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Okay, fair enough. We shall see on the Gears collection, but no, I don't think there'll be anything. They mentioned before, I can't remember when it was, that they said they had their 10 releases, which wasn't games, it was 10 releases, including things like the Diablo expansion for this year, and I think they were all reasonably accounted for. But
it's like all their studios as well. You kind of know what they're working on. Do you know what I mean? Like,
I believe I don't. They got loads.
Who? No, but I'm saying, like, you know, this Gears collection, like, you know, I don't know. I'd like to be proven wrong about it, but I can't see. I mean, he's not just talking about Gears collection, for example. He's saying like a surprise game in general, but you kind of think, where's it going to come from? You know, from first party, but
well, I mean, a remaster in particular wouldn't necessarily be first party. That's the kind of work that often is partnered out. But
yeah, but
we'll wait and see.
Yeah, I thought the rumor around that Marcus Phoenix collection was that fucking Gears 2 was going to be remade. There's some weird, like I say, it's sketchy rumors around it all anyway. Let's squash it, shall we?
Squashed. Next question, please. Came at a Bleeding Edge Crackdown 3 crossover game. PlayStation 5 and Switch timed exclusive. You know, that's almost certainly happening. We've done all of the questions, but actually that works out all right because we've also done... We did start a bit late, didn't we? But we've pretty much done the running time of our little show. So, first of all, thank you everyone for coming through and supporting us. I know I didn't publicize this one, didn't talk about it in advance or let people know that it was even happening, besides the fact that we do it every week. So the fact that there are people here is brilliant. It means you are looking out for every week, and that is always appreciated. Thank you for coming by. Especially as well, thank you to Luke for coming on. I gave him like 10 minutes notice, like, Luke, please can you do the show? That would be very nice if you're able. And he was able. He's here. He swallowed his dinner in one and made it on to talk to us. So Luke, thank you very much. Hope you had a nice enough time. Tell people where they can find you.
I did. Yeah, thank you for having me on. Yeah, I really enjoyed it, and I managed to. I'll probably get some acid reflux from how quickly I had that dinner. but it's been well worth it to discuss with you two gents. So thank you very much for having me. And yeah, just find me at LukeSteele90 on Twitter, and I'm in the Discord where everybody should be.
Absolutely, yes, he is. Darge.
Yes, mate.
You're going to be getting onto Elden Ring any minute now. Tell people where they can find you and what else you're up to.
Yeah. Yeah, it was good, Luke. It's good to finally see how, you know, you got pulled out of the E-file with 5 minutes to spare and you turned up with one of the tidiest camera setups I've ever seen. It's just given me massive anxiety about my own. But yeah, no, it's good doing the show we are. And you, Asa. Yeah, find me now on YouTube. I think it's the Darge Knight. I'll be on there streaming Elden Ring. I actually forgot, you know. Yeah, I'll be on there starting to stream Elden Ring. I'm picking up a playthrough that I had but I don't really know what I'm doing in there. You know what I mean? So I'm like level 20. I haven't fought any of the bosses yet. So I'm going to start from tonight. The Darge Knight on YouTube. Find me on Twitter at Darge Knight. And you will find me in the Discord, Gaming Arcadia Discord, where it's a lovely, lovely place full of all different types of gamers, all different like tastes. You know, there's a VR crowd in there. You know,
massive crowd. All of us are in there.
quite a bit of an Xbox contingent over there, Gran, at the minute. So we could do with more Nintendo and PlayStation people. But yeah, no, it's just all good people in there, and Gamsley's in there as well. But yeah, that's it. I'll leave it at that. And I'll see you all next week.
Yeah. So I will as well. You can also find me I'm doing quite a lot of the live streaming as well on the Asa Games. I'll be on Q&As tomorrow, the Xbox Series podcast on Thursday, and obviously with all of this showcase season going on, there'll be a lot of energy there, I'm sure. And then on from there. Thank you again, everyone, and we will see you next time. Well, I should point out, Chris Grannell will be back as well. So if you've missed his takes on there, he will be back. And he's doing all right. So see you next time. Look, you have to do Chris's pose. Do a pose.